Hey guys, welcome to the Burnout Box, episode 3, also known as Donnie Speed Dating. If you don't get that joke, make sure you're going back, watching the video from last week. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This week, my speed dating will be with the lovely Justin Sarkey, president of VMP Performance. You didn't like that intro?
You didn't tell me about this part.
I can only prep you on so much. We got an hour show and only 20 minutes to get ready. Anyway, I'd like to start off talking about daily drivers.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got one. We kind of bleed Ford Blue around here, so we wanted to know, when you guys aren't driving your Mustang or your F-150, what are you driving? What do you like?
So you guys go ahead and comment. Then let's just talk about who around the shop. How many daily driven Fords do we have, speaking about bleeding blue?
There's a lot of Fords in the parking lot.
I'd say we at least have 10 people that drive Fords as a daily. I've got an F-150, Mike has an F-150. Your daily is a supercharged F-150.
Pretty much an F-150, a Ford diesel pickup truck,
Yep.
or an Expedition to haul the family and the kids around in.
You got some comments coming in.
And oh, we got Alex with the R-Spec.
A Genesis. What's a Genesis?
So he's got a 5.0, but do you think he bought it for the displacement? Because it's...
I mean,
Did he think
I don't
it was
know.
a Coyote?
I don't know what other reason you would have to buy a Hyundai. So let's hope that's his reason. 5.0 F-150. Dimitri, I like you. Good job.
Okay, Andrew, the 6.7 F-150, the new one. I want one of those.
Yeah. 04 Mistachrome Cobra. Oh, that's your garage queen, Joe. Okay, I was gonna say, if you're driving a Mistachrome Cobra as your daily driver, you're on a completely different level than any of us.
Well, we've got a potential supercharger candidate here. He's got a 16 F-150 5.0 he drives daily.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Now, so
Alex says gap machine.
that's the debate. If you get an F-150, do you get the 5.0, the 3.5 EcoBoost, or the 2.7 EcoBoost?
Ooh, we'll just go to my horribly slanted personal opinion. The 2.7 I'm not a fan of. They've had some issues.
But he gets great gas mileage and it's quick.
They do get good gas mileage. And actually, Shane, speaking of our daily driven employees around here, Shane has a 2.7 EcoBoost with just our tune on it. And he beat my 5.0 completely stock, which I didn't think that was going to happen. But he dragged me down 44.
Aluminum versus steel, I believe it.
Not 44, excuse me, in Mexico. We only street race in Mexico, folks. 3.5 EcoBoost. Earlier models that have timing chain issues, not a fan. However, well, who is? But the later ones, the 3.5s aren't bad.
They're pretty strong. I mean, they'll make 450 rear wheel with a tune.
With a tune, and they're dead reliable.
So that's like the debate right there for me, is if you're going to get an F-150, the EcoBoost is quicker to start with and responds well to a tune. But around 450, 500, you're going to start hitting a wall without major engine mods.
And that's where you kind of got to have the conversation with yourself. What do you want to do with it? Obviously, me working where I work, I knew I wanted to look for a 5.0 F-150 because we don't sell turbo upgrades really for EcoBoost F-150s. I wanted to supercharge my truck. But for the average Joe out there, being able to buy an EcoBoost F-150, put a tune in it for, relatively affordable for how much power you're going to get out of it, you can't beat the EcoBoost.
Yeah, you can't beat the EcoBoost. But once you put a blower on a 5-liter, that's a whole nother ball game.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, we got a lot of Fords, but granted, I guess we are a Ford company, so a lot of our live viewers that are watching definitely are going to be driving Fords.
So Carrie's got an Explorer.
Carrie has an Explorer, which, speaking of the Explorer, did you hear in 2020 they're releasing an all-new Explorer on a whole different platform? It's all new.
2020 or 2019?
2020 is what I thought, but since you're questioning me, maybe it is 2019?
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
I think it's 2020.
Wow.
Which 2020 for the Explorer ST, which he's jumping the gun and making me give up all my little treats already, but they are releasing an ST Explorer talking about the Explorers.
The Explorer, like, I had one growing up. My parents had one. That used to be like a good, all-around vehicle, and
Yeah, I like my Explorer.
I don't care for
They
the
still
newer
are
ones.
good all-around vehicles, sorry.
I don't care for the front-wheel drive ones. It feels like you're driving a car, not a truck.
I agree.
Other than the fact that the Explorer is front-wheel drive, you like the Explorer?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, because they're making the Explorer rear-wheel drive coming 2019 when they release this new chassis.
The year the Explorer got its balls back.
We're gonna make an ST version and rear-wheel drive. Yeah, basically, it's getting its balls back.
So what's going to be powering it?
It is going to have a 3.5 EcoBoost at this point, but I heard they are working on a 3.3 liter EcoBoost that's just going to be a variation of the 3.5.
Okay.
But it's
Alex says a 3.5 EcoBoost Explorer got 19 miles per gallon towing a 4000 S550 to Ocala.
Alex loves the EcoBoost Explorer, and I know he really wants one just because they are dead reliable. They get decent mileage. You see them here, 19 miles per gallon towing your race car out to Ocala. Can't beat that.
You're driving too slow if you're getting 19 miles per gallon.
Yeah, I don't get 19 in my daily truck. I wish I got 19. But okay, new Explorer, ST, twin turbo EcoBoost, rear wheel drive, and coming for it.
Chris.
You know, the Jeep Trackhawk is actually, that Jeep platform is actually really small.
Yeah?
And, you know, so I would almost say it's somewhat between an Explorer and an Escape as far as size. So
Really?
I think the Durango RT would be a better comparison for.
Oh, I'm not even worried about the
the
Durango
Explorer.
RT then.
Yeah.
Honestly, just because Durango RT is got to be heavier because that is a longer vehicle. The Durango is pretty big, and I think it's only rated at like 475, 480.
We got a lot of comments from the peanut gallery over here.
We do.
A lot of people are asking about the testing on the Gen 3.
All right, Gen 3 guys, calm down. We'll get there. We've got your place in the show. I've got to like fluff it up a little bit and let all the live viewers get on before I just go jumping into the good stuff. But we will get to the Gen 3 questions, I promise.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions on the Gen 3. Donald says results. We demand results.
Donald, I like the way you're thinking, but just give me a little bit. Rebecca Starkey, SRT8 Jeep is on the very few vehicles I miss.
Yeah.
What'd you do wrong? Why did she miss an SRT8
We
Grand
got too many
Cherokee?
kids. They don't all fit.
Why don't we have a supercharged Expedition that would drag the Grand Cherokee down the track with all 5 kids in the back seats?
We'd have to build one. They don't make one.
Got your checkbook handy?
Trust me, I've thought about it. 5.0 powertrain in an Expedition with a blower.
How many great ideas have we had? Hey, you know what? I'm going to take this time to segue away from the show and get your guys' support. I've been trying to convince Justin to build a Ford Econoline van, 5.0 swapped, 4-wheel drive with a blower on it.
Rebecca jumped in. She said the SRT8 Jeep is on the very few vehicles that she does miss. And Alex says they don't offer it with a 5.0.
How's he going to spell my name wrong?
I don't know.
I've worked with you almost a year. How are you
Alex
still spelling
says,
my name
no,
wrong,
no,
Connie?
No.
Yes. All right, back to that. Econoline van, 5.0 swapped, 4-wheel drive, same basically drivetrain as our F-150 that runs 11s. Have like the AC unit hanging out the back windows, have like shag carpeting inside. That way we can have it parked in front of the rig at events and just,
Carpeting.
that's our pleasure vehicle. And then we go out on the track and we run 10s. It would break the internet.
It might scare people away too.
It just couldn't be a white van. Any other color we can do.
I was
Nancy
thinking
Jo,
with like
Nancy
white
Jo says,
rust dripping down from the roof.
Yeah.
Nancy Jo says that mom has a donor 5.0 Ecoline.
Oh
See,
man.
there we go. Donate it. Build an Excursion.
I do want an Excursion with a
Zach Willis.
6.7 in it.
Well, actually, there is a company.
Vans equal rape vehicles, and a free candy sign.
Oh man.
Zach Wilkes, Build an Excursion. Actually, I wish I had already talked about this and knew this question was coming because I'd have some cool pictures pulled up. There is a limo company in Texas, I would have to find the name of it, that builds you a brand new Excursion out of a single wheel F350. They take they buy a fiberglass topper, blend it into the side of the bed perfectly, and build you a third row seating, double doors in back like the old Excursion was that we know and love. And you get a brand new Excursion, what it would be if Ford made one.
Wow.
Now, the price tag on it, I'm sure, is a completely separate subject that I wouldn't be able to cover, but they do make them. All right, I'm ignoring all the things hating on my van. I can't get one person to comment in on my van's a good idea. Seriously, that's hurting my feelings, guys.
Because it's stupid.
All right. All right. Okay, we're out of them. But so, ST Explorer, I think it's going to beat all of the ones. And my basis for that is our 18 Mustang is going out to the Ocala half mile and beating Hellcats. Bone stock with some VMP magic tuning thrown in it.
That really upset people, didn't it?
Oh, it upset a lot. You know what? Can you actually roll that clip again? Just because I love the fact of how many people got upset that we beat it. And not only did we beat it once, Joe beat it twice. I don't know how back to back that was. How much time you guys had? Was that you guys? They ran and then went right back around to.
I'm not sure. They might have.
Either way.
Let's watch the video.
I think it was back to back.
It was back to back.
I think so.
That's I love the fact that people try to dispute it and it's on. We have it on film.
Yes, Alex came back to back.
There we go.
That's sad for the Hellcat community.
How do you not drive that thing into a lake on your way home and call your insurance?
Oh gosh, you're rough, Donnie. You're real rough.
I seriously, I don't know how I could own that car that's supposed to be this big bad machine and then watch a bone stock 18 Mustang fly by me in the half mile.
Oh shit, you're gonna start a whole nother fight.
What's that?
Tuning is not bone stock.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, we took our stock fuel injector, stock fuel pump, and everything, but we manipulated a little, and now we're not stock. Okay, that's fine.
To a tuner, a car is stock when you don't modify the physical parts, just the ECU.
No bolt-ons.
No bolt-ons, literally.
Okay, then how are we going to justify me? How much is a Hellcat? Anyone know how much a Hellcat is?
I don't know.
Other than too much? Anyway, let's just call it 60, even though I think that's probably low for what they cost. Let's just call it 60. Can you imagine buying a Hellcat for 60 and then our 40,000-ish Mustang that isn't stock because it has a tune in it.
38,000. But yeah.
38,000
yeah.
that has a tune in it. You can get from VMPPerformance for $199, and they beat you. That's how do you go home happily and not kick the Hellcat as you walk away from it?
I don't know, Donnie. I don't know.
All right, let's see what kind of comments we could get. Edward Pierce, you'd burn the Dodge. Glad we're in the same boat.
It would float.
Andrew Lambert, it would float. They are boats. They are heavy as all get out. You're right. Didn't even think about it. We got to drive it into a ditch. Can't put it in a lake. Oh, here we go. Nancy Joe. Oh, the donor Econoline has a wheelchair equipment ramp in it. That could be handy. We take it to shows. We got a wheelchair ramp to load stuff up. And then when we beat you with our 10-second Econoline van, we can pull the wheelchair ramp out of the back of it and get out in a wheelchair after we just gave you the gap sauce.
Alex wants to know if you're going to talk about the new parts.
Yes, we are going to talk about new parts.
Throttle bodies.
All right, everyone on here was commenting Gen 3. So I guess let's get into that before we lose them if you want.
Donald says Gen 3 with 1300 since you can max ID 1000s with the Gen 2.
That's an option that we can look at offering. It's so hard to build the Stage 3 kit out because people buy it that have a mostly stock car and then people buy it that want to go and do crazy stuff. But we're finding you don't have to run more boost to make more power with the Gen 3, so it's not going to be that hard on the fuel system. But you could do 1300s if you want to plan for the future.
All right, let's go back to our early Gen 3 comments we ignored because we weren't ready for all that yet.
They were all pretty much the same. They just want information on the Gen 3 and where it stands in testing. If there's parts, as was mentioned, maybe Justin, you could go ahead and speak to that.
So we have been testing the VMP Gen 3, both on the dyno and on the track. sometimes covertly, as was the case with Streetcar Takeover last weekend.
We did a great job hiding that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. You guys are the first to find out, honestly, outside of our building, that we had a Gen 3 with us last weekend that was running down the track.
And it ran darn good. We actually got some more Gen 3s in the shop just yesterday. So those are going to be going on some more cars. We'll be showing you some of the results on this show in subsequent episodes. But remember, the blower doesn't officially launch until mid-March. So we're kind of doing a slow build-up, getting all of our power numbers, all of our track times together. We are going to consider taking pre-orders. We're thinking about that. So we've got you guys in mind. We want to get those results out to you. But the blowers aren't going to ship till mid-March at the very earliest, possibly late March. So we've got some time. We did prepare a little bit of a video earlier. We ready to roll that, guys? Oh, there's my supercharged daily driver F-150.
I love that truck.
We just went to our local track on a regular test and tune night and pulled Rebecca's 2011 over there with the F-150. That's kind of funny. Both vehicles had Gen 3s on them.
Oh yeah, that is funny. I didn't think about that. I forgot you were still rolling around with the Gen 3 on the F-150. That thing already needs tires. You're gonna have to take it easy.
Oh, it's the F-150 is outright dangerous.
Oh, I'm sure. They were already bald as it was, and now you threw a little more power at it.
So, Rebecca's new car. We got a Gen 3 on it. We've been doing dyno testing, as you saw last week, and this time we just have the extra power.
Man, seeing the way that car launched, it definitely looks like you got it dialed in. Well, here it is.
Brian wants to know if you need an 08 GT500 test mule for the Gen 3.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
I was going to say, let's talk about GT500 test mules in a minute here. But yeah, it looks like Rebecca's car hooked and booked. I don't think I've ever seen that car be able to take off launch as great as that looked.
And Mark wants to know, does the Gen 3 have a lot of blower whine still? Whee!
It does.
It's still a TVS.
Yeah, it still sounds good. So we made 3 passes last night at Orlando Speed World. All the 60 foots were in the teens. We went a 119, 118, and then she went a 117 60 foot. Fastest 60 foot she's ever gone. The Gen 3 was basically on low boosts with some bigger pulley sizes. And we know the blower is going to add a ton of power. It has added a ton of power, but we've kind of got it dialed back until we make sure the suspension works. So we're really happy with the initial results we see so far. We're going to keep racing it. It's going to be at Lights Out 9 next week in South Georgia, which is an 1/8 mile track, but that still gets us a ton of data.
Sure. Lets you get the launch down, 1-2 shift, all that fun stuff.
2-3 shift.
2-3 shift, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be there, South Georgia Motorsports Park. We'll have a booth set up. Come by and see us if you're anywhere in the area. I promise you that's some good racing. I haven't ever been to Lights Out, but I went to No Mercy last fall, which apparently you said is much smaller than Lights Out. Still a good racing, but much smaller
That was
turnout.
like a car meet compared to what Lights Out's going to be this year.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to phrase it like that.
The Street Outlaws are going to be there.
Okay.
I mean, you got to figure No Mercy last year was under threat of a hurricane, basically. So
Yeah.
they started their race
Oh
early.
yeah, I forgot we hurried the raceway up and we were
Yeah.
out of there on Sunday by lunchtime because of the hurricane coming through.
They ended the race early, so a lot of people didn't come. I mean,
Yeah.
Lights Out 9 next week at South Georgia Motorsports Park is going to be absolutely crazy.
I'm looking forward to it. As soon as we said we were going, you know, I came right to you and I was like, hey, that's a race I want to go to.
Alex says you'll get a contact high.
Depends on where you hang out.
Joseph
Yeah.
wants to know what class, Ultra?
Yeah, so she'll be running Ultimate Street, which the VMP Gen 3 2650 is now legal in Ultra Street.
Ultra Street, and didn't Rebecca get it legal in another class?
It's possible to cross over into some other classes too
Okay,
that follow Ultra Street rules.
I know she's been working on it. Rebecca, we are going four-wheeler racing. Yes, we will. So if you show up to South Georgia Motorsport Park, make sure you come out to the Speedway after the racing's over, and you might find me and Rebecca out there trying to grudge race some people on our Kubota side by side.
I do know the top speed of the Kubota, so...
Well, you've got that little metal bar welded under the gas pedal, and maybe me and Rebecca will have to have some alone time with the Kubota before we take it out there.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
We got any questions coming through on YouTube, just because it looks like we're catching up on the Facebook?
We do have some comments over here. Let's see what's here. Let's see, you got a Lexus. They're talking about the cars. What kind of gains have you guys seen on a ProCharger cars going to a Boss intake manifold?
The Boss intake's all about high RPM power. You do lose a little bit of torque, but even with a centrifugal blower, you're going to make up for that. Just off the top of my head, it's going to be really depend on your combination, but I would say 20 to 40 rear wheel horsepower.
Jimmy says, have you seen any stock converters fail on the 6R80?
We have not.
I was going to say, I haven't seen any. Everything can fail, so don't take that as they're bulletproof, but we haven't seen any problems.
Personally, amongst us or our customers, we haven't seen any problems. And Rebecca ran a stock converter in a 6R80 for probably 3 to 4 years, and I think she still has one of the fastest 60 foots out there, 125, 124. There's a video out on YouTube where she ran a 8s on a stock converter.
Wow.
But there's a lot of benefits to an aftermarket converter. One of those is strength, one of those is stall speed and consistency in stall speed. That stock converter is really tight. You have to hit it with a lot of torque to get it to stall high. Now, that's the great thing about our TVS. It works kind of good with stock converter for a mildly modified car. But there's some reasons to go aftermarket converter too.
Scott says that he thought the van was a very cool and unique idea. He also said that he saw you guys at Street Car Takeover. He said, great job on the Silver Gray 18, especially versus the VMP F150.
So Scott, I appreciate you liking my van idea, the one person out there that does. And yeah, believe it or not, our 18 is relatively stock. It was out there doing that. Relatively stock, I'm saying, because it does have that tune that we've established is not stock.
And the truck was still outrunning it.
The truck was outrunning it. But now we've kind of told people the truck had a little extra help this past weekend.
Yeah. And there's going to be more to come with the truck. That was our first track outing, kind of a mild tune-up, and yeah, we're going to go quick with that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Myers wants to know your opinion. 2018 Mustang GT PP2 or used 2016 GT350? Not gonna lie, used for mostly around town with an occasional track.
Oh, man, that's such a tough decision. So we've had both now, essentially.
We have. I've driven both. Although the main driving of the GT350 was with a clutch that slipped at more than a quarter throttle.
Oops. Good thing that was warranted.
Yeah, I don't know how that went bad after 9,000 miles so quick. Speaking of the Burnout Box, you go first.
So the 350 is like an awesome machine right out of the box. The handling, just the performance, just the way it feels and sounds. Like if you were going to buy a car and not mod it, and you wanted just kind of a daily driver, you know, 500 horsepower, that's it right there. With the GT though comes modability.
Yeah. So you're saying, so what's your pick? He's asking for our pick. You had to go get one right now. We getting the used GT350 or we getting the 18? Since you now you own both.
I'm gonna buy the Coyote.
You're gonna get the 18.
I'm gonna get the Coyote, whether it's a 15 to 17 Coyote or an 18 up Coyote. We might have a supercharged 18 Coyote shortly.
You guys heard that before I did, just so you know. Didn't know that was coming.
But the Coyote's very moddable, and that's what it comes down to, whether it's NA bolt-ons, tuning, a supercharger, exhaust. The GT350 is kind of, the way it comes, you don't want to mess with it too much after that.
Well, I think I'd pick the GT350. Oh, heard myself talking. I heard you talking. I think
Why
I
the
picked
GT350?
Because if we're going to get our car to drive every day, we're talking about our daily driver. Daily driving, I'm going to have more fun in the GT350. Just being able to rip it around corners and stuff in town and whatnot, how amazing that car handles. Which
So you can get the 18 GT with MagnaRide.
With MagnaRide, yes,
And
but
his-
not with the super wide profile it has, not with the bigger tire. Well, you can get all this, but we're just talking about going and getting it the way it is. I'm picking GT350.
Have you driven something down 415 with 305s on it? It
Yeah,
finds
your GT350.
finds every rut in the road.
Yeah, definitely.
I just give up and just kind of let it do what it wants to do.
You know, actually, I love driving our 18 because of the steering control, how you can desensitize it or extra sensitize it and set it on comfort mode or sport mode.
Oh, I put it on comfort mode. I don't want to have to do any like extra work with the steering wheel.
Yeah, but when I put it on sport mode, it like just holds itself straight because the steering is a little harder. It's just easier to go straight line.
You mean
All
you can't
right.
drive in a straight line on your own?
Jim Roberts, 2019 GT500. That vehicle should be awesome. Yes.
Alejandro Flores, you keep spelling my name wrong, and I'm not going to respond to you. I don't know what you're asking me to stop. GT500 Gen 3 test mule. Are we ready to cross that bridge yet, or are we still baiting them?
Oh, gosh. Why don't we... Chris, you want to show them... Yeah, well, we might as well roll into it. They're asking about it. Yeah, let's talk about what we picked up recently.
Sweet video that'll play when the lag stops.
So, you guys made it look really good on video.
It looks that good in person.
Did you take the t-shirt off the driver's seat?
Nope.
Where it was worn out?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the bolster's kind of wearing out. You can kind of see the rock chips, and the paint's not okay. Oh, there's the T-shirt, and the paint's not just not as shiny as it was when it's new, but this car is bone stock down to the paper air filter. So we picked this up from a guy in Cocoa Beach, and it's 82,000 miles bone stock. He actually called us a couple of years ago and was going to consider doing some mods, and he just never got around to it. Came time to sell the car and move on. Joe caught it on Craigslist, and I was down there that afternoon buying it. It'll be the third GT500 that we've had, and I've kind of got big plans for this car in terms of a Gen 3.
I really think you just had to go buy it because you don't own anything Shelby right now.
That might be part of it too.
You had a 3 week. How long? I guess we traded the 350 on Thanksgiving Day, right?
Thanksgiving Day,
I was at your
yeah.
house Thanksgiving Day. So it's been 3 months or so since you haven't had a Shelby. I think he just had withdrawals and we had to go get a GT500. That was the real issue here, folks.
That's true.
Just so you know, Travis chimed in again. He said, awesome. He can't wait to see what's next with the truck. Keep up the excellent work. And Josh, whose question you just answered regarding the 2018 or 2016, he says, thanks for your input. The live chat is awesome. Keep it up.
I'm glad you find my random facts useful.
So this GT500, I think the clutch is going out on it.
Actually, funny story about that. You didn't hear this story yet. So Chris, the guy that put together that amazing looking video, folks, that's sitting to the left of the camera you can't see, he's the one that makes all the magic happen with these videos. He goes to move it earlier because he wanted to wash it to put that video together, and he comes in the shop and, Donnie, I can't get that car in gear, which Chris drives a Volkswagen Golf that is stick shift, so I'm like, I know he knows how to work the stick. I'm like, okay, let's go see what's wrong with it. So I get in it, it goes right into gear, I look at him kind of funny, and he's like, yeah, it's in gear. He's like, but it won't go. So then I start moving my leg and moving my leg and moving my leg, and after I've let my foot off the clutch about a foot, it starts rolling, and I said, oh, there you go, Chris, that's it. So yeah, I definitely think a clutch that's going to be able to handle the Gen 3 at some point in the future has to happen.
Yeah, we got to call we got to see if the extended warranty got transferred over and see if we can just get that warranted.
Yeah?
Wait, I think there's a used clutch sitting in the shop.
There
Let's
is
just
one.
put that in there.
There's
Okay,
one.
excellent idea.
You're telling yourself excellent idea? Wow, I should do that. Yeah, good idea.
And you're going to put it in, Donnie.
Yeah, probably.
I'm excited to get some baseline numbers on that car and then slap a Gen 2R on it and then slap a Gen 3 on it. I mean, it's got stock exhaust on it.
Yeah.
It's going to be an excellent to show what can be done on a completely stock GT500 with a Gen 3.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to being able to take the stock car and just be like, hey, we did this. This is the power we got out of it. We did this. This is the power we got out of it. And be able to like take people through the steps. Not to mention it'll just help George that's sitting at home saying, hey, what do I want to do to my GT500? And then we can show him numbers like, hey, you know, we did this swap. We got this power out of it. We did this swap. We got this power. I think it'll help with all that.
So Justin, we have Slab Shack, who is a regular watcher of ours. He watches our Tuning Tuesday as well as our Burnout Box. And he wants to know, on a 14 GT500, how much power is the NSR cams worth? It's pulleyed and full exhaust VMP tuned.
A ton. That car needs to breathe badly, especially if you've got long tubes on it already. 60 to 80 rear wheel horsepower. Have you put cams in a GT500 yet, Donnie?
With Mike, I've done GT500.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an involved swap, but
oh, you're dropping the cradle. You're bringing the whole motor down.
It's easier to do just with the motor out. So we do it here in the shop on a fairly regular basis. We kind of got the process down.
Yeah, we can have the motor down out of the car in an hour or so.
It's a way to add a lot more horsepower.
We got a little bit of truck questions. We can touch on those. Alex, Justin, do you think the F-150 can go 10s with Gen 3?
I think it can and it will.
I know we're not disclosing any numbers or anything yet because we have to finish testing, but I think with what testing we got done at Streetcar Takeover, it's definitely attainable.
Yeah, we should do it on the bald, what are those, Goodyear Wranglers or something?
Goodyear Wrangler radials. Truck for the record, I think, what's the fastest time it ran before was 11.5?
It would go 11.5 on the Gen 2R.
So 11.5 Gen 2R, full weight, usually has a box of t-shirts in the back seat. The big drop hitch was on the back and on Goodyear Wrangler radials.
11.5 was perfect conditions.
Sure.
So it was more like 11.6 if you just pulled up at the track one day, 11.6, 11.7.
Still, 11.6, 11.7 with stock all-terrain tires, full weight. We've got crap in it.
To answer Nancy's question, it's stock internals as well.
Yeah. What kind of we were getting out of it with Gen 2R? I think I know that. How much power did you get out of it with Gen 2R?
About 650.
That's what I thought. 650 was getting out of it. Bone stock internals, stock cams.
It's got headers on it.
It does have headers. Headers with high flow cats.
What do you got for us, Carrie?
I actually have a question in a comment. So DQ Patrick says, get a 17 GT or spend $10,000 more for the 18. And Murphy says, how to make the max power with rods and pistons on a GT50, a 15 to 17 on pump gas, and what's the max can be done?
Pump gas is your limiting factor.
Pump gas is always the 85 around here.
Yeah, that is pump gas.
But yeah, rods and pistons, we don't like to build low compression Coyotes. Keep the compression up and just get better fuel. Whether it's like a Torco additive, a VP Octanium additive, just give us more octane and the power comes so much more easily. Carrie, going back, I feel like we missed a question.
We were given a choice. What do we want to buy or build?
The 17, well, like the older cars are kind of figured out. I mean, we're figuring out the newer cars right now.
Yeah.
But we're only 2 months into it.
Yeah, and that almost goes to what are you going to do with it? Because if we know buying the car, we want to put a supercharger on it, we're ready to go throw mods and everything else at it. The 18 really hasn't been out that long. We don't have a whole bunch out there offered. If we want to go get a car and put a supercharger on it tomorrow, 15 to 17 is the way to go.
I mean, it's going to be cheaper and easier to mod an older car because everything's already figured out. Yep. I mean, we're going to get the 18 stuff figured out, but there's some things about that engine that are, the block, nobody knows how strong it is. The DI pump is expensive.
Yeah.
It's time will tell, and we're going to figure out how to make power with it, but how much is it going to cost? long term.
Now, if you're asking the question stock for stock, of course we're taking the 18.
Yeah.
The 18 makes more power. It gets a little bit better mileage. If we're getting an automatic, we've got that 10-speed transmission, which I absolutely love.
That 10-speed auto is freaking wicked.
I heard, I wouldn't know, but I heard it chirps the tires like first, second, third, fourth.
It lays rubber on 1-2.
Oh, man.
Jai wants to know, who do you recommend to tune a 4.6 2-valve on E85?
We can do that.
I know a guy.
Yeah. We know some tuners.
Yeah, we know a few.
So depending on how crazy it is going to determine the level of tuning that it would be and how much data logging and stuff we're going to need. But if it's a stock 2-valve on E85, you're going to need bigger injectors.
Well, it's not stock because it's already got bigger injectors. If he's on E85, there's
he
no
should
way.
have bigger injectors. Yeah.
I don't think you can just put E85 on that stock fuel system and roll out.
We got Mitchell Page checking in.
Mitchell Page. Speaking of how well 6R, well, his car has a converter. I was just thinking how well 6R80s do. That giant wheel, bumper dragging wheel that he did.
He can't keep that thing on the ground.
No.
Mitchell, we got to put limiters on your car or something.
I don't think he wants to keep it on the ground because every time he does the big bumper dragging wheelie, he comes back smiling like a little kid on Christmas.
He says he's looking to switch to E85.
Switch to E85.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
So we got stock 2-valve. We want to go to E85.
Mustang Jeff says, can Gen 3 be pulleyed big enough to keep safe on cammed 08 stock rotating assembly? Car makes 650 to 630 wheel on M112.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gen 3 makes more boost if you run the same pulley size, but we're actually coming out with more 10-rib pulleys to keep the boost down on the Gen 3 if you want to keep it down.
Yeah, and I mean the benefit of being able to go to the Gen 3 with the more efficient rotors and whatnot is you will be able to pulley it up and actually be running a little less boost and whatnot and be able to make the same power, but now we've got lower IATs because we're not spinning the blower as fast, so there is some benefits to that if that's what you're looking to do.
Or even more power.
Yeah.
At the same boost level or slightly less.
Yeah.
DQ Patrick, who was talking about earlier about getting a new 17 GT or spend 10,000 more for the 18, he says he's thinking of putting a supercharger on it and it will be auto.
It will be auto. Like we said, 18 auto is amazing. It's that 10 speed is awesome.
I was we were working on some stuff, and I think that 18 supercharged auto answer will come sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So
I guess I know what I'm doing in the shop next week.
I can't disclose that. Not next week.
Okay.
But
soon enough.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it earlier, and someone, actually I think Alex or somebody brought it up, and I know you started to bring it up, and we started going into some of the Gen 3 stuff, and we were also talking about some other parts possibly.
So we've had a lot of other parts that are kind of spawned from the Gen 3. The 10 rib, which we're going to be, we've got a small amount of parts in-house. I know someone was asking about that. That should be on the website later this week or early next week. And then the big throttle bodies, which I've gotten some firsthand experience with now. They work great. I think we're making an adapter plate to allow that larger throttle body to be used on the older Gen 2s and Gen 2Rs.
Yes.
I think we might have one over in the over on Travis's desk if somebody wants to go grab one. So, you know, if you can't afford the Gen 3 yet, you can buy the throttle body and adapt it down to your Gen 2 for now, and at least have some of the parts.
Yeah. David has a 16 GT with GT350 intake and stock throttle body with PMAS, stock exhaust manifolds. Would E85 net any significant horsepower?
I would say, David, you know, as long as you've got injectors in it to handle the E85, it would be worth it, and yes, it would net some gains. We can run a lot more timing on E85, and then of course the oxygen and the fuel makes more power too. So
there's your. I didn't know we had made a metal and already everything else. I've just seen pictures.
Yeah, the new CNC person is super quick.
Awesome.
So this is going to adapt the big VMP 173 down to the opening on the Gen 2R. And the opening on the Gen 2R is actually pretty big to begin with.
Yeah. And I know one of the things I don't want to say fought, but always were dealing with Rebecca's car, her old car, was getting enough air into it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even on the Gen 2 and the Gen 2Rs, a lot of people were playing with porting and using some other brand throttle bodies on there. Now we've got the biggest throttle body on the block.
Yeah, the 173 is the biggest you can get for almost any application, isn't it?
Yeah, and a Ford drive-by-wire, I believe it's the biggest production throttle body. And we have those on the shelf today. I guess we'll have to activate those on the website here shortly.
We gotta get on the website this week.
Oh, we're gonna release the throttle bodies with tuning data, which I think is an industry first.
Okay.
So they're not going to be on the website next week, Donnie.
Okay.
But they will be soon, and we'll be supplying you or your tuner with actual some calibration data for them.
Murphy wants to know, he's got a 15 to 17 GT. If he's stuck with pump gas daily as a daily driver, how does he get the max out of it?
You know, good exhaust is always going to help. And from a tuning standpoint, evacuating the cylinder quicker keeps the chamber cooler, and it's going to make it a little bit less knock prone. It's going to add power. So there's some things you can do to optimize, you know, a 93 octane situation.
Jai came back and said, considering stock 2-valve lower end is good for about 450 horsepower, what size injectors would you recommend for E85? I'm assuming I'll have to go with dual 450 LPH pumps.
So it sounds like you're going to supercharge or turbocharge that 2-valve. I would probably do around 1,000 cc injector, DW95 or an ID 1050X.
Whipple Cobra says, would the Gen 3 make similar power to a Kenny Bell 4.7 on a GT500?
It depends on how much boost you're running. I can tell you the TVS is going to make a lot more torque, and the power potential, depending on how much boost you're running and how built the engine is going to be pretty unreal. And we're actually going to prove that on the dyno as early as next week.
Sweet.
Jai came back and said, perfect, thanks guys. You have a couple comments over here on Facebook as well. Michael says, how much horsepower would a 160 millimeter throttle body be worth over a twin 67 on an 09 GT500 with a Gen 2 on a 2.4 upper, stock lower, full exhaust, and JLT 123?
So that's still kind of a mild combo. Donnie, have you seen any like that?
Oh yeah, we get a lot of those.
That's kind of the standard GT500 setup. You know, do a 2.4, 2.5 upper.
Yep.
And you know, makes about 670 to 700 rear wheel.
Yeah. Those headers help those things out a lot.
Yeah. Makes about 18 pounds of boost. So the 160 is going to be worth probably about 20 to 30 rear wheel horsepower, but you're kind of on the edge here because the car, this Twin 67 works really good on mid-level combos. Drivability is still good, and the power's pretty decent too. If you had a lower on that car and you really needed the extra airflow of a huge throttle body, I'd expect 30, 40, potentially even more. We'll be testing all these combos. Of course, the 160 probably be one of the biggest throttle bodies that somebody's ever put on a Gen 2.
Yeah.
And we'll have a separate adapter plate for the 160 to go down to the Gen 2 opening size. This one I'm holding is actually 173 down to a Gen 2R opening.
We got anything on YouTube?
Did we answer the question about the fuel system upgrade for GT500 in prep for a Gen 3?
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Israel said, what kind of fuel system upgrade is recommended on an 08 GT500 in prep for a Gen 3?
So if you're going to be on gasoline, our plug-and-play fuel pump boosters work just fine. Easy to install, low cost, and you can make 750, even 800 rear wheel horsepower on race gasoline very safely. If you're going to go E85, you want to get some bigger, badder E85 compatible pumps in there, and the Walbro 465 is pretty much the go-to for that.
All right, Nick says he has a 15 GT with Gen 2R on 82 pulley and twin 67. Would I see any gains going from Roush CAI cold air intake to JLT at this boost level on 93?
If you've already got the Roush CAI, I think that's it's pretty decently sized, right?
Yeah.
It's, I think it's 105, 110 millimeter. You might see a couple horsepower, but you know, I'd spend. Oh, this is a 15. This is a 15 up. So
Yeah.
now the argument becomes: do you have the lid still on it, or did you take the lid off?
Yeah, open box.
So lid off, you're going to gain some right there. And then if you go to the JLT or even the PMAS intake, I'd say there's probably about 15 to 20. I think we tested that at low boost and we saw a little bit of power.
Okay.
Terry wants to know, or he stated, I purchased ID1000s, a dual boost pump kit in 2016 for use with Gen 3. I have a 14 GT500. I am maxed on fuel now, which I expect is around 700 wheel horsepower. Is this still the preferred injector that you tune?
Yes, it is. Those will work real good once you put the Gen 3 on there. Nick, we don't really have a whole lot of data on those intake cams, but you know, I would say it'd be worth a shot to do a bigger cold air.
Dorian wants to know on an 18, what part of the direct injection would be first to upgrade, pump or injector to run E85 on a blower?
Dorian, didn't you just order a Whipple? But to answer your question, Dorian, the DI system, the injector and the pump both kind of max out similar times. So with the DI, it's a pressure problem and a volume problem. And you can compensate quite a bit with more pressure, but you cannot compensate with more volume because the pump still can't deliver it. So the go-to on the 18 DI is a bigger pump first, and it's yet to be seen what injectors are going to become available for that application.
So Dorian responded to you. He says, yes, he did get a Whipple.
Yeah, yes.
And he's crying.
And
He's crying. And to add to that, Whipple Cobra says, take my money now for a Gen 3.
Take my money now for a Gen 3. For every Whipple purchaser, there's a VMP purchaser right behind them. So I just want to add one more thing on the DI system on the 18 up Mustang and F-150. How big do you think those injectors are?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at it.
Well,
I haven't played with the 18.
We ran some calculations based off the slopes in the PCM, and the DI injectors look like they're over 100 pounds an hour.
That's stout.
Yeah,
for stock.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But the window to inject fuel on a DI system is much lower, so the max duty cycle is like 25 to 30%. So that's why they have to be so big. But just fun facts.
Sure.
Bye, Felicia. So, we got any more questions on YouTube, Carrie?
No, I think we're doing good, pretty good right now.
I think we got a little bit more stuff to talk about.
Well, we were talking about the GT500, and I just figured we'd do a little side bit that I think's pretty funny. So, we've all seen the horrible videos of Mustangs leaving car shows, dyno days, cars and coffee, whatever it is, and they give a little more than they needed to and get sideways. And we actually have seen now the parts farm, which they're up in Georgia, they sell they part out basically Mustangs. They'll sell you a run. To die like that.
So,
That one keeps going.
hey, the powertrain's still good. So is that That car's at the parts farm now?
So yeah, that was getting to my funny bit. The parts farm has it actually on their website. I think like, okay, you've seen the video, now you can get the car. Parting out. Pro Dyno Car Show crash in 2013 Ford Mustang GT500. You've seen the video, now come buy the parts.
Wow, that's some slick marketing. Jeff, do not message Donnie while we are doing the live show.
Come on, Jeff Lee, you got that popping up on my computer.
The powertrain's still good. Some of the wheels are still good.
Well, actually, if you watch the video again, which you don't need to go and play it again, but he has like red, good-looking wheels on it. They got, I don't know if the parts farm ripped them off. Yeah, but so those are actually stock wheels off of something else. But yeah, they part out everything.
Didn't we get a car from there that was running and driving?
We did. I don't know if we were going to talk about that.
Yeah, I just so the parts farm is actually a pretty awesome place. We're not gonna divulge everything just yet. Bill, you've seen the roof already.
Oh, they have seen the roof.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's our running and driving car from the parts farm.
If you need Mustang parts, the parts farm has like everything. Rebecca got some gears from them for the half mile, and we got a whole running driving car with the title. That is going to be our next project car.
That was basically my Christmas present. I called. I was on my Christmas break, and I saw a car that intrigued me, and called up Justin, and I'm like, hey, so I found this, and blah blah blah, and then we end up going and getting it like 2 weeks later. So yeah, you guys have seen a little bit of it doing some donuts. We'll fill you in a little bit more on that later.
Future video series.
Let's see.
What we got for some questions? We're getting close to the end here.
Maticus says, do you need to buy injectors to run an E85 tune on NA15 F150
So,
and I was gonna say I hope not, because I run E85 in my truck that's tuned, and I don't have injectors on my 14.
It's flex fuel. The F150 is flex fuel, so technically no injectors needed.
Martin says, why is it that some people don't recommend ID 1000s with a 2.4 upper and 10% lower on a 14 GT500 using E85?
So, that is a bad mofo car to begin with. It's got bigger fuel pumps and bigger injectors from the factory. The 5.8 moves a ton of air. ID 1000 is actually kind of at the limit. If you're running factory fuel pump still, that injector is a little bit on the small side. So an ID 1300, you don't have to run the fuel pumps at as high of a pressure, and you can still get plenty of volume with the bigger injector. That's kind of the story there. I mean, we've done it on ID 1000s. It's just something you got to keep in mind as you're kind of on the edge.
Looks like you have some comments here on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
We
got David Decker wants to know if his 13 GT500 does his stock cold air intake flow enough for the 67 throttle body with our tune.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
There's improvements to be had with another cold air intake, but it's not like that's being a funnel and really restricting you horribly.
In 2010, the factory cold air on the GT500s is pretty decent. It's about a 100, 105 millimeter. The frequency-based MAF they introduced in 2011 has a lot of range, so you don't have to worry about pegging. On a pretty much stock car, most of the gains are in looks. I think you get like 3 to 5 with a bigger cold air, but the big but, it's going to set you up for future mods.
Yeah.
Greg says, how much horsepower do you get per extra degree of timing once you fix the intercooler on those flamethrower blowers?
Oh gosh, that. Well, let's just speak to the timing per horsepower on a supercharged car. So if you're kind of in the middle of the timing curve, which I call like the meat and potatoes area, you can see 10 to 15 rear wheel horsepower per degree of timing. And then those gains start to taper off as you get closer to NBT. Donnie, do you know what NBT is?
You're speaking Chinese at this point.
Yeah.
I install the superchargers. I don't tune the superchargers.
So that's just your theoretical max timing given unlimited octane.
So if you have unlimited octane, why is there a max timing you can throw at something?
Well, mechanical advantage.
Okay, elaborate.
So you're shooting the spark plug off
Okay.
and it's lighting this flame that's pushing down on the piston.
Yep.
And you keep adding timing, and you're trying to push down on the piston earlier and earlier, and all of a sudden it's just not mechanically advantageous anymore.
Gotcha. The piston hasn't come up far enough, built any compression, all that fun stuff. Got it.
And the timing's one thing, but the mixture inside the chamber, depending on how that chamber's designed, the swirl, intake valve placement, and everything kind of affect how quickly it burns natively. You know? So that's why diminishing returns from more timing.
Chris wants to know what's the best exhaust setup for an 09 GT for power and sound?
I mean, I don't think any exhaust we install around here is for sound.
Yeah, I mean,
Go with a good set of long tubes, high flow cats that are quality. Don't order something off eBay. Get something quality, and whatever mufflers you want to run.
Yeah, and even if you're not going to go to that extent, just some high flowing, some high performance oriented mufflers like, gosh, anything that's out there really is usually pretty decent on a V8. It's with the 4-cylinder and the V6, you've really got to pick your exhaust system to get the sound you want.
Chris Cooper wants to know how much rear wheel horsepower can the stock bottom end handle on his 2010 GT500? Which I don't know the for sure answer, but I was thinking in my head around 800 is where we're really pushing the limit.
So my 07 GT500 had 800 rear wheel horsepower, and I put 13,000 miles on it. The new owner put maybe another 5 or 10 on it, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Sadly, it was totaled about 6 months ago. My original 07 GT500.
Did it go to a dyno day?
No. No, it got all 4 sides, somehow involving some trees and some other stuff. But
okay, all 4 sides. Wow.
But the iron block GT500 bottom end, even the aluminum block, 700 like all day long. 750 to 750 I still feels pretty safe. 800, above 800 you're getting on the edge, but it doesn't mean that it won't live for quite a while depending on how you drive it. You go to 850, you need rods and pistons. Just don't go to 850 without doing rods and pistons.
Phil McCracken wants to know, ever tune a 2000 Cobra R with the built 5.4?
Yes, I have. They pick up a ton of power. Yeah.
There's only like 300 of those out there.
Yeah, and
you've tuned one?
I've tuned like 3 or 4 of them.
That's impressive. That's cool.
Yeah.
Can you just bring it by the shop so I can just see it and touch it? Like I saw one at NPD's car show and I was kind of geeking out around Justin.
It was awesome for the day. There's some other like awesome stuff out there, like the camera motors, the old 4-valve that makes like as much as a Coyote.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's another story.
That's another day.
That sounds pretty good on the long tube side. What's
we're talking about
Alejandra, Borla, Touring, or Corsa Sport? Good recommendations. I see Mr. Greg Banish checked in. Thanks for watching, Greg. You're kind of a celebrity amongst us tuners.
Rebecca said that Evie needs another shout out. So just so you know, guys, so you're all aware when I do these little Evie shout outs in the show, Evie is Justin's daughter that likes to run up behind me and terrify me any given chance she gets. So what I'm assuming is Evie's sitting at home right now, probably roaring at the computer screen, trying to scare me. So Evie, please stop trying to scare me. Please stop scaring me in the shop.
Or Donnie might just roar back.
I might.
Now, Evie's 4 years old, so she's not that scary at the end of the day.
No, not that scary. Plus, she's already claimed Alex as her husband, so
Jesus.
I can't mess with her that much because Alex will kick my butt.
I don't know that Alex knows that.
I think he does.
He may have found out. Hey, Dave.
Dave Lucas, hey, VMP. What's up?
So I actually am going to go back to another post from earlier. I think somebody mentioned that they're applying tonight. We've actually got a job posting up on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So people can come work with you, Donnie.
Hey, yeah, it's great. Ask everyone else here. They love it. Right, Chris?
You guys don't have to force those thumbs up if you don't want to. But no, we're looking for sales and support specialists to answer the phones, interact with our customers, handle tickets, and just basically be a part of the team. A lot of opportunities here at VMP if you're good at what you do. Donnie's now on our Facebook show.
I'm on the Facebook show. I started out here as the tech that had never put a supercharger on before. I was into road racing before I worked at dealerships, got into road racing, came here, honestly never really played with a Mustang. You know, I worked on a Porsche road racing team and came here, and yeah, now I have a live TV show with a whopping 48 followers. Which, by the way, speaking of our followers, you owe me $5 because not one person requested for me to sign their hat.
Oh, I feel like somebody was going to, too.
We have like 4 people comment like, oh yeah, you could sign my hat. Nope, nobody put it in.
Okay, so we got to wrap this up. I just see it's 7 o'clock. Got a couple. Bruce, too much power. That's what I love to hear. Thank you, Bruce. And
Alejandro Flores says he's pretty hot. He's lying. Patrick Carroll, how much horsepower can you safely make on an 09 GT500? The same thing as our 10-man. 800 is getting it very, very far limit. 700, 750 should be fine. Jim, glad you like your tune on your truck.
Thank you, Jim. Good to hear. Steven, so 69 millimeter E85, that's like 700 plus, 750 pretty easily. Mitchell Page wants a job. Donnie, okay, you guys are gonna work that out. Greg's doing videos too. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Tim, thanks for saying hi. Man.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
So, hey, make sure you guys are still commenting on here. Maybe tell us what you guys want to hear about next week.
Mitchell Page came back and said, Donnie, can you sign my hat?
Yes, Mitchell Page, I can sign your hat, but the bet's already over. Justin already lost, but I'll still sign your hat.
$5.
Well, since my Harley ran out of gas the other day and I stole 93 octane gas from you, I think we're even. But anyway, make sure, guys, you're commenting on this. Let us know kind of the stuff you want to talk about. Obviously, we try to get back to all of you in the comments when you're responding in the videos. But if you got some great idea, hey, make sure you're getting it to us. Also, be sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, all that fun stuff so we can keep producing content. And Justin has a reason to keep me on the show.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
See ya.